Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to my channel in Moose Platte Mountain on YouTube. Thank you very much for tuning into this video. I just want to do a more of a closure video from yesterday in asking what to many can seem to be a controversial question. You know, why would I choose Victorinox Swiss Army knife over Leatherman, right? And I've got a mixture of responses. Thank you very much for your thoughts. Thank you for your opinions. They're very helpful. I love understanding people's way of thinking, how they carry their lives with their EDCs, how they use them. I love hearing the psyche and their just logic determining of what works best for them. And that's really what it all is about, right? So again, if you're peeling back the banana peel, right, as so many of us do, and part by part, I want to take this vantage point to describe what I think is another aspect that I think Leatherman has very much essentially fallen behind. And from a marketing standpoint, I really think they should go this vantage point because it would be very advantageous for them. And it is a vantage point at which Victorinox has beautifully mastered, okay? Which is also why I have these two in there, okay? Because I plan to demonstrate a few things here in a little bit, okay? So first and foremost, let me just say that when it comes to multi-tools, two names will always dominate the conversation, almost always. You have Victorinox Swiss Army and Leatherman. Both are very much respected, they are reliable, but today I just want to talk about something that sets Victorinox particularly apart, and its ability to adapt to the better unexpected moments, right? In a lot of respects. Leatherman multi-tools lean heavily towards the plier head design, and please, just don't get me wrong, pliers are extremely useful and can be used in and out of different scenarios. And I'm sure many of you have creative stories of exactly how you've used pliers, maybe not in exactly a conventional way, but equally they have been very helpful for you. But there is a catch at the same time. Once you fold the Leatherman shut, right, like say something like the Surge, which is something I always rave about, and this one here is my work Surge, I brought it this time in the video, right? You notice that all of what it offers is built essentially around the plier head, right? It's in its own, from an ingenuity standpoint, excuse me, it is very much a fixed system, right? And how they built it. It's built around the plier head to fit in compact together into itself. Okay, Victorinox, I feel, takes a different approach. Okay, when building, instead of building everything around the pliers, it builds around its ability to adapt to needed scenarios that many people have expressed over the years and decades, right? And I think one of the particular aspects to that are the back tools, okay? So one of the back tools that I rave about, that there are certain individuals who may not see a particular value for it, but I do. I personally will not carry a Victorinox Swiss Army knife if it doesn't have this particular back tool. That's how much I like it, okay? And I am referring to the corkscrew here, okay? This corkscrew, all right? Now, this corkscrew has two functions to it, right? So one of its functions that I like to use it for is loosening up knots. I'll see if I can do this. My apologies if the camera doesn't focus very well, okay? So essentially you just, I'll see if let me move these out of the way first. Okay, move it out of the way. So you essentially just, find the spot in it, okay? Then you just work it through and you just pull it apart, right? Okay, you just loosen it up, right? Just enough, right? Because the idea behind a knot is you pull it, it gets tighter and tighter because it collapses and pressurizes against itself. So the idea behind it is you loosen up the pressure, right? So that it has nothing to collapse against to, and then you could just easily pull it apart, right? So, right, so you just open this up. See if I can get this guy. I actually got this guy pretty darn tight. So you got the, yep, there it is. Okay, I got it. Yeah, so you just kind of work it around. So this was something that that happened to my son today. He pulled his laces the wrong direction through the loops, right? And so I just decided to use that in one of the videos so you could see how it's done, okay? So even though I can do it with this tool, which works fine, the one that for me works one of the best is actually the parcel hook, which is another one that I feel is incredibly handy. This is another tool that is on the back side of my Victorinox Swiss Army knives on every single one that I carry, okay? Because I essentially need at the knot and loosen it up that way with this hook, because if you look carefully, it's not a sharp hook. So what will happen is you will be able to knead into the lace and loosen it without having to gouge and kind of gut the lace and ruin the fibers. You have to be a little bit more particular about when you're using the corkscrew, I will say, because you could potentially, essentially gut the fibers a little bit and kind of loosen and slowly damage the lace a little bit if it's thin enough. A lot of my shoelaces are really thick, so it won't do it to that, but especially if you have kids, right, that have those thinner shoelaces, kind of like you have on these ones, right? They're, if you look at here, right, it's just a relatively thin shoelace, okay? You just got to be careful how you put in there. You get it all the way in, back a little bit, and then you could, do your pulling method. But this is one of those two, the corkscrew and the parcel hook here, are the two back tools that I feel like are absolutely essential for me. Right here, okay? These two are absolutely essential for me on every single Victorinox. I absolutely love them, okay? So Leatherman does not have something like that. Again, I will reiterate, I very much have a high respect for Leatherman, and I'm grateful that they have gotten into the market they have. But if they want to see themselves for a more long-term survival, I think it'd be quite important if you got something, let's say, like the T4 even, have them create their own version of their own little hook or little corkscrew or something like that. You got more than enough space here to add those tools, and in some respects, keep the same bulkiness, but just put like a corkscrew here, and then just add, instead of, then just add a parcel hook somewhere in here. That's of course just spitballing on my part, but I think it is a very much viable option for them to put like a corkscrew on this one. And I think they would have, it would become a much more advantageous edge for a marketing perspective to be able to sell a lot more of those free T4s and K4s, right? So these are some of the tools that I really enjoy on the Victorinox Swiss Army knives. Okay, and of course this is a Victorinox climber I have. One of the few that actually does not have a pocket clip on it, that I just carry in my pocket and pull out the tassel. Okay, so that's one aspect that I like. The other aspect that I really much do like about it is when people often associate an EDC carry. It's adaptable essentially to any style and setting, right? So you have something here. This is more of a protecting plate. I don't want to use my wife's cooking gear for this, so I'm going to show you essentially how to start a fire with a Victorinox. And this is my very first Victorinox compact. I've had it for a lot of years. And, eventually I need to get the scales replaced on this one too. However, I'm going to show you how to start a fire with this guy. Okay, so, and the reason why is because, another thing, this of course is a secondary product at which you can buy to accommodate inside your scale tool, right? When you buy a Victorinox Swiss Army knife, it comes with a ballpoint pen, right? And a toothpick if you were to buy the compact, right? Or any style that has the plus scales would come with a toothpick. I pull the toothpick out and I put it in for a ferrocerium rod. Most people say, well, I don't understand how this tiny thing could be very, very handy, but let me show you how it works, okay? So first you pull out your combo tool. Okay, you have your wire stripper. Now it doesn't specifically have to be the combo tool because again, you have the same tool that I'm going to use here in something as simple as the climber, right? Or any other standard Victorinox Swiss Army knife. So then what you do, you hold this essentially on the upside down position, okay? And then you put this right over the top of that flint, okay? And then you just drag it over without moving the knife. So if I could get this. Oh, good grief. Pressed too hard on that one. Yeah, the trick is not to press too hard to get it just right. Trying to keep it right, I don't want to burn the table. Isn't that great? I have a YouTube video where I burn my own table, right? That'll go viral. Oh, you saw it. It's been a few years since I've used the small one, so bear with me. Sorry, my apologies. There we go. And there you have it. Starting a fire. Okay, close it up. So there's the fire. I'm going to put it out just to cancel. Hold on. There you go. Ta-da. All right. So that's how you start a fire. Okay. Takes a little bit of practice. It's been actually a couple of years since I've particularly used my Victorinox compact to start a fire. Normally how I've started the fire in the past is I actually have a larger ferrocerium rod that I use to scrape my my saw against, which, where's it at? Where's that? I have it on me somewhere. Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. I put it on the table, which I have used, right? This guy. So you do is you flip this guy, and you know, if you have a larger one, right, you essentially could just do, right, you just do, and you see that? You see that? So you can just strike it that way, okay? So these are all options, right, that are in unprecedented scenarios where you would be able to adapt a little bit better to any given environment when it comes to a certain and specific need that I think Victorinox very much does offer that Leatherman does not. Okay, now the other small thing that personally I really don't like very much that I just found out through a YouTube video, right, from I can't remember his name, but he announced it, and I thought that was really silly, is the fact that you have, right, your standard, let's see if I could, I don't want to pull this off much. You have your standard knives, right, but then you have your, what's equivalent to your plier heads, multi-tools, even for Victorinox. But the difference is that they're continuing with their sheaths as Leatherman because of price predicaments. They're not continuing with sheaths. So when you purchase a plier head multi-tool, such as say a Leatherman Surge, right on their website, it literally just comes with the Surge. It doesn't come with any sheath. I think that I understand why they did it, and logistically, I can see how that makes sense. However, I personally don't agree with it because for instance, this Leatherman Surge, right? This particular one that I've carried in my pocket for the last, not pocket, good grief, my sheath right here. Here's my sheath for it. I've carried this sheath for over 13 years, right? No one's gonna want to put this in their pocket. I sure as heck don't, especially not with the work that I do. It's a clunker. That's why I put it on a belt. So the fact that they're saying, okay, well, I understand that there's a hook or crook way of having to carry it, even if they're not able to offer the sheath. I still think for certain they should reduce it to smaller ones and medium-sized ones, but the really large one, I still think they should keep the sheath with it. And that's really my only issues I have with it. But yes, I do use Leatherman daily. I do revere Leatherman in their durability and reliability in many respects. But I do think they should change change tone a little bit and come out with something that's very similar to what the Swiss Army knife not only represents, but how it functions. Okay, because I would very much be in support of that. Anyways, I will put all the information of what I have shown you and demonstrated you in the comment section. Please check that out. If you like what you saw in this content video, please grab it. Prepare yourself in a like manner so you're able to do it just as I showed you here in the video. You won't be disappointed. People will think you are incredible for being essentially those heroes in the moment, okay? And I hope you have a wonderful Labor Day weekend, and I will see you all in the next video.